Good morning from Branson, Missouri. My name is Nanny, and today we're going to be making some pot pies. But before we make pot pies, we have to have a crust to go on it. Now you can use boughten biscuits or even homemade biscuits for your crust, but I've got a pie crust recipe I'm going to share with you today that is the best pie crust recipe I've ever used. This was given to me by my friend Pearl several years ago, and it is a really good crust, and it freezes well raw or baked too. So basically, I'm going to turn this camera down here so you can see it. I have already mixed up the pie crust, and what I use in it is coconut oil. Now you can use vegetable oil. If you do, I would use the all vegetable oil, but we started using this coconut oil several years ago, and it's a little bit healthier for you. Okay, I have made this pie crust and patted it out here. This recipe makes 4 pie crust, and like I said, it freezes very well. So I want to show you here how I freeze it. After I make it, I just cut it into 4s. And this will make a good size 9-inch pie. Just kind of round it a little bit, and I put it on a piece of plastic wrap, cover it good, and I do all 4 crusts this way, and then put them in a zip container in the freezer. And when you're ready to use it, just pull it out of the freezer, let it thaw 30 to 45 minutes, and you're ready to make your crust. Now, I guarantee you, you can make this faster than you can run to the store and buy those boughten crusts. But in our video today, we're going to be making the pot pies, and if you don't want to go to the trouble to make your own crust, you can certainly use those refrigerated crusts at the store. So that's it on the pie crust. I'm going to lay this over to the side here, and I'm going to, my kitchen just smells so good today. So good, because a few minutes ago, I just took this chicken pot pie out of the oven. I make several at a time, put them in the freezer, and then put them in the refrigerator overnight when you're ready to fix them. And then the next day, bake it at 375 for 30 to 40 minutes. Now, I like to brush my raw crust with an egg wash of just 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of water. Mix that up really good. Brush it on the top of your crust. And then I like to sprinkle it with this coarse kosher salt. It just gives it a good flavor. And something else I do with my chicken pot pies or beef pot pies is I just put a crust on the top of it. Now I'm going to show you today, if your hubby, like mine, likes lots of crust, you can make some little round cookie type crust to give him some additional crust. But I feel like just the crust on top saves a few calories. So this is what we're going to do. Now I'm going to show you the chicken pot pie today, but you can use the same recipe for beef pot pies. You just replace the chicken with beef, and I like to use stew meat and cook it in beef broth until it's tender, and then cut it in small pieces. And so the only 2 difference in the chicken pot pie and the beef pot pie is the beef versus the chicken, and the beef broth versus the chicken broth. So I have already started here to save some time. I have started our base for the chicken pot pie. I'll get this back down here so you can see it. Now, you notice this one is rich yellow looking. If you add a drop or 2 of yellow food coloring in any kind of chicken dish like a chicken and noodles, chicken and dumplings. It gives it a real rich color. So that's what I have done today, just a drop or two. Now, what I've done here, and by the way, let's go back to this pie crust for a minute. I didn't tell you the rest of the ingredients after the coconut oil. You use a cup of coconut oil, a cup of butter, 4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of sugar. Now, you also put about a cup of milk in a jar or a glass and add a tablespoon of vinegar and mix that up. You want to do that about 10 minutes before you're ready to make your pie crust. Now, I make mine in a stand mixer and it mixes up really fast. The only thing about a hand mixer, the motor may not be big enough because it's a fairly stiff dough. So a stand mixer works really good for that. Okay, and it may not take the full cup of milk. It depends on how liquid your butter is and how liquid your coconut oil is. So don't pour the whole cup in at once. Just see how you need it. And I think you're really going to like this pie crust recipe. Okay, let's go back to the chicken pot pie filling. I have put in here 4 tablespoons of butter, a 1/2 cup of chopped onions, a 1/2 cup of chopped celery, and I heated that up and let the onions and the celery cook till they're tender. Then I added a 1/3 cup of flour and a teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then I had some fresh bay leaves from our garden, and I dried those, and so I put some of those in here. I love thyme. Did I say bay leaves? It's thyme leaves. I love thyme in any kind of a chicken dish. Okay, so that's where we are right now. So we've got our sauce cooking good here. Smells really good too. So now the next thing that goes in, I just use a bag of frozen mixed vegetables like this. Now I had some corn left over from our dinner on Sunday, and also I chopped up a potato and what I call parboiling. You just boil it till they're about half tender. Go ahead and put all of that in. How you like that crunching sound? And you use about a pound of chopped up cooked chicken. You want to go ahead and cook your chicken. Now I'm going to stir all of that in there. And oh, this smells really good. You know, when I first talked about making chicken pot pies for the video, it was really cool. It's supposed to be 85 degrees down here in the Ozarks today. So I hope the chicken pot pie still sounds good to you. Okay, we've got all of this stirred up and heated. Now, I also put a 1/2 cup of 1/2 and 1/2. Woohoo! And if you really want to kick it up a notch, you can add a can of cream of chicken soup too. That's just up to you. This recipe is fairly flexible. Okay, now I have a prepared pan here. I always make it in these foil pans because I like to freeze a bunch at a time. We're just going to fill it. Now this will soak up liquid as it bakes. So this looks just a little thick to me. So I'm going to add a little more cream to it. This bakes, like I told you earlier, in a 375 oven for 30 to 40 minutes. And don't forget to put an egg wash on the top of your crust. Okay, there we go. Now I've got some crust already cut out down here, ready to put on here. We're just gonna lay it on top. We don't have to secure the edges or anything, just lay it on top there. It's best to cut some steam holes in it and then put our egg wash on top of that. Get it over here so you can see it. You know, I had the best day yesterday. My high school friends, we graduated in 1965, 55 years ago. We meet whenever we can, but we hadn't been able to meet because of the COVID virus. So we got to meet yesterday and we just had the best time laughing and talking about each other's families. So, okay, this is ready to go to the oven. Now, as I was telling you, if you want to do some more crust and don't want to put a bottom crust on it, you can cut these out. This is just your pie crust. Put them on a pizza pan or a cookie sheet and bake them about 10 minutes. Now again, if it were me, I would brush it with egg wash and then spread the coarse salt on it too. So I hope you'll try this recipe. It's really good and it's quick. It freezes well too. So guess what we're gonna have for supper tonight? You got it, we're having chicken pot pie. So I hope y'all are having a great week. Next video, we're gonna be making fried pies. So I hope you'll join us for that. Take care and be kind. Bye-bye.